Hey, I'm Cade, and this is Cade Made, where I share uploads of my ongoing creative journeys, which I hope will inspire you to dig into your own DIY projects. On today's episode, I'll be sharing the few simple steps that I took to refresh, thrift-flip, upcycle a few patio accessories, which I hope to incorporate into my summer 2021 patio style. It was a little chilly this week, so I thought I'd work on these smaller projects before working on larger, more broad projects outdoors, which will be in future uploads. So if you'd like to stay up to date on those, please do subscribe to Cade Made and like this video. And otherwise, I think we should get started. Let's get going. These two lanterns I got at a local independent thrift store, and they were $2.50 a piece. They're metal construction, they have this interesting roof line, you know, they're super cute. They obviously just need a little zhuzh. And so I think I'm just gonna sand them both up a little bit, scrape some of this, and then paint them up, and I think they'll work great. These two I found in somebody's trash, which is possibly where they should have stayed. I don't know if these are gonna work out entirely, but we're gonna give them a good shot. Since you saw, I had to separate the bottoms from the tops because they were a little warped and a little separated, and then I needed to take out the different nails and just get them generally cleaned up. I wet the surfaces and put some clear Gorilla Glue on there, and then clamped all of the pieces together and let that dry just so that they were fully put together so that it was useful to even do anything with them at all. Paint the little roofs green, little happy green roofs. Just gonna sit outside and be green. Some little gnome roofers came along and said, hey, these little lighthouses are gonna have green roofs. The bugs are gonna sit on this little green roof and die by citronella poison. I couldn't find any bigger brushes, so that's why we're detail painting these on. So funny. Isn't that nice though? Just watching that little roof painted up stroke by stroke. Little teeny stroke. You know what? While I was painting this on, I kept looking at it and being like, I'm getting a really fantastic finish. And I didn't even buy this paint. I think it was here in the house, but I just realized it's oil-based. So the rust that was on there will definitely probably never come back, but the fact that it's oil-based is gonna make the paint layers level really nicely. So it's also high gloss, so it's gonna be interesting. This episode is brought to you by Rust-Oleum, non-spawn, because we've got it all here. We've got all the Rust-Oleum products. I'm standing here having a safety meeting and realizing that maybe I should paint the bottom, like that portion. So I had this dream recently that I was doing a voiceover and somebody handed me this microphone and they were like, they don't want to hear voiceovers, Kate, they want to hear you. And here we are. I sort of wish I could hear everybody talking back in the videos, like it was like some sort of like time travel thing where it's like people could be like, no, don't paint the base that color, like pick a different color, or like, no, put on gloves, Cade, or why are you wearing headphones and turning up the volume when you should be wearing earplugs, or stuff like that. Get like instant feedback. That'd be cool. I guess I could go live. I could do all of this live and show you in real time what it's really like. The many hours. It would be really boring live, and then I'd have to be reading your comments while like sawing something or something. And then I would be there and you would be telling me what to do, and I'd just be so distracted by like trying to keep up. This is absurd. This is why I shouldn't be given a microphone, but here we are. We are Cade made semi-live dialogue, inner dialogue. After a good washing, I put the glass panels back in the lanterns. I don't think I caught the taking them out of the lanterns, but putting them back was much more difficult than taking them out, so that's that. It's probably a good idea to wear gloves doing this because you don't want to cut yourself, but I didn't wear gloves and it was fine, and I didn't break any of the glass putting it in. I believe this is the moss-colored camouflage Rust-Oleum spray paint here. I was trying to get out of the time lapses a bit in this, but I sped this particular video up and it makes it sound like I'm just cracking the glass left and right. I did get these guys together. I put some Gorilla Glue on there as well, and then touched up where I put the little finished bolts in there, the finished screws. Okay, after all, I would say it's a good idea to just paint the bases as well as the tops of any item you're doing, unless you're just going to paint everything one solid color. So as an afterthought, I as well decided to paint the bases of the wood lanterns a matte black like everything else. So I have this window that came off of a house that a friend of ours is renovating. This is the exterior side of the window, and it's really worn, but that's not very important to me. I'm going to use this side and paint this side Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover flat black on this, and then on the other side, this mirror effect. You can find these on Craigslist, dumpsters. You can probably source an old window for free or very inexpensively. They're pretty easy to find. So this will be a cute project. Obviously, it needs some work, but other than that. Here I am just wiping down the surface of the glass because I'm going to be spraying it with that mirror effect paint, and so I want the surface of the glass to be as clean as possible. I cleaned up both sides just so I could see the overall effect at the moment, but I will be cleaning the other side in a minute. I also sprayed it really well with a good glass cleaner as well, the spray way. I don't know if I said any particular order of events, but a lot of the glazing came out in the cleaning process. I don't know if you could see that in the time lapse. When I turned it over to the other side, this pane, for example, is like shifting front to back or top to bottom or whatever. I was going to do the mirror effect paint last because it's kind of, in my recollection, I've done this once before. It's a bit fragile, but I didn't want to scratch that doing the other side. I think that it would be better if I just went ahead and did the mirror paint and then did some caulking after that's dry so that that can be set. We'll see how this all goes. I did use acetone to clean some of the paint on this side. It's looking pretty good in this reflection, so I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not expecting a mirror effect. The mason jar. I'm on to you, Rust-Oleum. I wouldn't do it for our bathroom mirror, but I certainly think it will be just fine. I think I got it clean enough. I also cleaned it twice over or something with this. This stuff is awesome and it smells really good. So that's that. I'm pretty impressed with the way that this paint works. It's pretty trippy to see it dry because it really does go clear and then turn into a mirror even on the side that I'm spraying it on, where I'm going to be using the opposite side because it's going to be facing weather and the hose and whatnot. But again, I went ahead and cleaned up the edges of all of the window pane frames for this part so that when I go ahead and spray or paint the other stuff on, it just goes on a little bit easier. The paint that I was using, this Rust-Oleum stuff, comes out, it comes out of the can a little blue, but ended up drying just fine black. I did shake it up before I painted the next part of this project, but it did end up being just fine. It was the first coat. By the second coat, it was completely black. This urn, this concrete urn and its base, were on the front porch, on the ledge of the front porch when we got the house, and it just was not working. You see it was faux finished. So I'm gonna scrape off what is loose on here and then going to paint this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Ultra Cover flat black. Black is obviously our accent for substantial surfaces outside. Here I'm just scraping everything off that I can possibly scrape off. You do not want anything flaking up at any point. These things are going to be in hot, cold, wet, all of the things, so just make sure all of the loose stuff is off. I generally say that using primer on anything you're using outdoors is probably the best idea. Primer has a lot of bonding agents and has a tendency to be a bit thicker than paint, so that putting that on the paint that you use, whether latex or oil, will actually bond to the primer much better than it will bond to any of the surfaces that you're putting the primer on first. This Kills Restoration shit is dangerous. I might get addicted to it. So good. Looks great. I want to paint it black. You'll definitely want to coat this any outdoor items, especially things that are made of concrete or terracotta or whatever. You're just definitely going to want to coat things 2 or 3 times to get it right, and so that all of the paint is bonding surely to the surface, and anything that lifts off is going to lift to just another surface of the paint that you're applying. Here I'm scraping off all of the paint that bled to the edges of the frames because I didn't tape, and I would say that I probably should have taped in this case. It would have taken me a little less time to clean up all of those edges, but no worries. Summer season, patio season is my season, and I cannot wait to incorporate all of these items into the outdoor spaces. There's so many things to do outside. I'm so excited to get working on those things now that it looks like everything's going to be warm from this point forward, and we won't be expecting snow again anytime soon. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Cade Made. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.